All right, we should be good to go in the next 30 seconds. Sorry about that.
Looks like it's now streaming, it says.
All right, we good to go then.
You good
All
to
right,
go?
we should be good to go in the next 30 seconds. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. All right. We'll go ahead and start to get started here. So, appreciate everybody jumping on. It's a little different than normal. You get a little up close and personal view of all of us. So, appreciate the guys being a little flexible and jumping on to the virtual meeting. We haven't done it in a few years. So, first call to order. Can I get a motion to call the meeting to order?
I'll make a motion. This is Jim.
Thanks, Jim. Can we get a second?
I'll second it. It's Mark.
Thank you, Mark. You might have to say your name because it doesn't always pop up on me. All right. This meeting is now called to order. I had 612. Leslie, 612. So I'll quickly run through the agenda for tonight and then we will get after it. So we will go over also some meeting minutes, public comments, board comments, which we just have one, and we'll move into head of school reports and get into the principals reports, EC directors, staff development, and athletics update, operations update, as well if there's any PTO or athletic booster updates and committee reports. And that'll be it. This might be a shorter than standard meeting, but to start off the new year. So happy New Year, everybody. Appreciate jumping on. So Leslie did send out the previous meeting minutes from 10/8 to 11/6. Did everybody have a chance to review those? And is there any questions, issues, adjustments?
No issues.
Look good to me.
Yep. I reviewed them, kicked them back, and said and good to go from my end. So, can we get a motion to approve tonight's agenda and the previous minutes from the October 28th and November 6th meetings? Get a motion.
Don't move. Mark.
Thank you, Mark. And can we get a second?
I'll second, Tricia.
Thank you, Tricia. Tonight's agenda and the October 28th and November 6th meeting minutes have been approved. We'll move into public comments. There are no public comments this month, which now leads us into the board comments section here. So we do have a guest with us today, Josh Chenery from Mattamy Homes. He's going to speak here quickly here about the sewer proposal and the potential easement that he has going on. So Josh, I'll turn it over to you and let you share your information.
All right, guys, thank you for allowing me to hop in on this. I'll try to be brief. I think Scott had forwarded over some of the information I got to you guys. If I hadn't met you yet at previous board meetings in the past years, Mattamy Homes is a privately held home builder that is developing a property that we now own around the corner on Spence Farm Road that backs up to the school property. I will share my screen and kind of in just a minute and kind of give you an idea of what we're doing. We are building, I think, 47 new homes adjacent to your property, and the sewer for the property will run down Spence Farm Road, then Old Powell Road, and then tie into a Kelly Creek manhole that is just. Oh, wait, if you let me see, I'm trying to make sure I figure out how to share this. All right. So are you seeing? Okay, so
just 1 second. Might take a little bit to.
Are you seeing it, Scott?
Yes, I can see it. Everybody else, is it working for you guys?
Yes.
Okay.
So
All
where
right.
my cursor is, this is the property we bought. Obviously, the school owns somewhere in here, all the way up and around here. This kind of gives you a better idea of what we're doing. This is the project that we're doing. with our 47 lots in there. Our sewer will and our water will come out on Spence Farm, come up to Old Powell, and run up around the corner. If I zoom in, you guys can see that though the property will be easier to do this on my work computer than my home computer, but there will be an easement required. You can kind of see that this green line is the sewer line. The highlighted blue is the easement. The town requires a 20-foot easement, and so that would be 10 feet from either side of the line. So the blue indicates where the 10 feet is in your property. I've also sent a document, but this is still to be surveyed. We've had our surveyor out here to get this to us, but we would have to finalize square footages and exact lines. But and then of course this would still have to be approved by the town of Fuquay. And the catch-22 with something like this is that we need the easements before the town will approve them, but it's not going to move. And we have a document that can fairly clearly state that. And we've asked our attorney to make it as simple as possible. I think we reduced it to about a 5-page document from about a 10-page document. And I'm going to show that to you here in just a minute. But as you'll see, the homeowners association, there's a private property owner. The homeowners association owns these 2 parcels and then 2 other private individuals. We've received the easements from them, working on finalizing with the homeowners association, but have everything in line so far. You guys are kind of the last piece of the puzzle. What I do want to indicate is that this property is not usable for you guys to develop upon. So we're not going to be intruding on property that you could do something else with. This property is within the setbacks of the city, and you couldn't build this close to a road. But in the same respect, we won't intrude on your driveway. And as a matter of fact, I'll show you in the easement document that we've actually made we've taken some of your concerns that I've spoken with Scott and some of the other board members in the past about easements, and kind of I highlighted a few things. It's again a fairly quick easement. It would be 900. We have estimated to be 938 square feet on one parcel and 1,083 on another the other parcel that are side by side. So you're talking about 2,000 square feet on the front. I think at the deepest point, as you can see in here, I've actually got a picture of kind of where this would be as it relates to your sign. Your sign's right here. There's some bushes right here. The line actually kind of comes right here. They didn't put the line in this for me, but the line stays pretty much out here in the right of way, other than for where it bends kind of close right here. But we wouldn't affect your sign. The line is a 4-inch line. So if you think about maybe the size of your fist, that's about the size of the line. It's going to be about 36 to 48 inches deep. So you're not talking about a huge piece of equipment digging a big trench and keeping things and having a huge ditch. You're talking about a ditch that's going to be a 1.5 foot to 1.5 foot wide. And there will be a iron force main pipe in there. So there's not going to be a bunch of manholes to it. It is a private line for our project. And so it's actually probably a better line than most of the sewer lines that are in the town already. They're requiring a very strong line and a few other things. But anything that we would disrupt here, we would put back as seen, if not better. And as I said, I indicate this in our easement. There's our square footage. It will be, and this is to show you that we're going to turn the easement over to the town. So the town's actually going to maintain the easement. Once we complete it, part of our project would be to turn it over to the town. So they require a pretty high standard for us to turn an easement over to them. So there's some things to know there. We're going to obtain all the necessary permits. We're going to maintain it. We're going to complete the work all on our dime. There won't be everything that goes with it will be responsible for. We won't disturb the grantor, which would be you guys, including without limitation, interrupting traffic services during school hours, promptly removing any construction debris or dirt. And then it says we'll establish communication in coordination with the work and improvements with you guys via phone and email. So it really just speaks to us communicating with you guys well. Then we then go into talking about how we're going to clean the areas and provide and then put it back the way we found it. It says that we're going to advise your employees. It actually gives you guys the opportunity to have somebody direct to contact with us, someone to monitor it from your side if you need to. We just really took a lot of the concerns that we've spoken with Scott in the past about and tried to really wrap it into this document so that you guys could feel really comfortable that it's not just a company coming in and doing something on your property. It's us working with you to make sure that what we're doing is proper and done correct and put back correctly. And then it speaks to, again, back that this it says that Granite will have the right to have any professional of its choosing present during the inspections. So if you guys need to have somebody that you want to come inspect it to make sure it's done right, I mean, we just really want to be ahead of the game to make sure you guys are comfortable with this. Again, it's property you can't use, but we don't want you to know that we were there. We want to put this our sewer line in and put it back the way we found it. We want to be good neighbors. We totally intend to be there for about building this. It's going to take us about 6 months to actually get it to, once we get approvals, to develop it out. So we expect by the end of the year to start developing, and then we would expect to sell out in about probably 2 years after that, 18 months to 2 years. So we're going to be your neighbors for about 3 years. And we really want to make sure that we're good neighbors and do a good job. And then we've indicated that we're going to give you guys some money for the inconvenience with it. You know, of course, we'll leave that for you guys to discuss. But ultimately, we really just wanted to. I really wanted to come today to kind of answer any questions you may have about it. Just kind of show you as in best detail as I can exactly what we're doing, and just kind of go from there. Scott, you think I've missed anything?
Maybe talk a little bit more about just some of the construction. And I know you mentioned to me it was going to be open trench and how you guys kind of handle that, especially with some of the sidewalks and.
Yeah, here's the one thing to note is that this is not something that's going to take 2 weeks to do. This is something that's going to take probably, 4 to 7 days on the high side, just from an inspection process. You wouldn't have any type of open ditch that would prevent traffic from flowing in and out of your school. As I showed you in the document, we coordinate with you guys, and the goal would be to do it when school's not in session, when there's not athletics going on, when there's not anything going on. But if it works out and we have to do it while school's in session, then we would try to do it pick like a teacher work day and pick like a 3-day window, a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or a Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or something of that nature, or a school break, because we'll be able to work this around your schedule pretty well, because it's, like I said, the development process is going to take 6 months or so. So let's say, we might have a 3-month window that we can plan this and really try to narrow it down so that it's in a time that doesn't affect school business, that doesn't affect students or parents coming in and out, or athletics or things of that nature. But if it happens to be in that time, what we've said within the document is we're not going to, first off, we're not going to do it during school hours. We would do it after hours. Secondly, we would never cut off traffic from that. There would always be at least one lane of traffic. But again, we're really talking about this ditch, even the cut, putting it in at the most being probably a 2 to 3 day process to get through your driveway. And traditionally you might have some stone there for a day or a week. Again, we're talking about a foot to 18-inch wide ditch. So you're not talking about, a 6-foot ditch that with a bunch of gravel. And then as soon as the weather would permit, we would come right back in and put the concrete back, sidewalk, everything back in place as it is. Depending on weather conditions, we'd want to make sure that we do the landscaping at the proper time so it's done right. If it's better to plant a bush, a month down the road, then we would, consult with you guys and make sure that we're doing everything at the right time to make sure that everything's put back in its place as is or better, and in a timing that works for you guys. But again, we're not talking about, a month-long period or an ongoing process. This is going to be pretty quick, and we can schedule it out so it can be done in a manner that works for the school.
Can you zoom into that the screen you got in now? Just bring it closer to our property. Is that sewer is it staying on the left side of the road there?
Yeah, it stays on your side of the road. Sorry, I got one screen in front of the other at my house, and it's just trying to mess with me here. All right. Let me zoom in just a little bit more. All right, well, that's what it's letting me zoom. So as you can see, the line comes in to the blue part, which you see the blue, you can kind of see the curve in the line. The green line is the actual sewer line, and it only comes into your property right here. For the most part, the line only stays here. And so the easement, for the most part, is just what is considered a construction easement, which is what the city requires, that 20 feet that I told you about, 10 feet on either side of the line. The only place that I think you would, we checked that the only thing that you're going to notice is I think those 2 bushes in front of the sign could possibly have to come out. Again, if I scroll down here to this picture, this is where that blue area is, and we know that the line comes right in here. I'm sorry, I don't have the line in here. So possibly these bushes right in front of the sign, but the sign wouldn't be disrupted. For the most part, this sidewalk here won't be disrupted. You will have a line that goes across the driveway. You can already see some cracking and some stuff in your driveway there. So we would actually improve that. That's, when we cut that out and fix it, you won't have those cracks there anymore. So there'll be some, it's really the way that we hope to do it. You won't even notice that we were there. We would prefer to do it in a time when the school's not in session, maybe on a vacation or during the summer, and then coordinate with whomever the facilities manager is at the school and make sure that it's done properly and put back properly, and that you guys wouldn't even notice it.
Josh, this is Eric, and I have a question at that bend by the bushes. Is there some type of manhole that is going to be there to get access to that bend?
No, there's not going to be any type of manhole, Eric. This is what's called a force main. And so the line will be pressurized. It will not be an open gravity sewer that you would need a manhole. This will be a single iron pipe, 4 inches in diameter, that the sewer will run through to this Kelly Creek. There's a manhole right here, and so the sewer will run all the way down Old Powell Cross right here, and then from that point it will gravity flow into down Kelly Creek into the main system. But here we're running uphill, and so what you do with uphill is you force it with pumps or with a pump, and so it will be pumped through here. So there won't be, you don't need access via manhole for any of these lines. You won't know it's there.
Question. Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, this is Jim. Hey, Josh, thanks for all the detail on here. I do have just a couple questions. I'd like to sort of have a little bit more clarity when we say put it back to its original state. The only reason I'm saying that is because it's very difficult to take a new shrub and plant it next to existing shrubs and actually have them look, synergistic or look the same. So I'd like to maybe just take a look at like, what does that actually mean? I don't want to, I don't think any of us really want to have a baby shrub next to some other. So maybe there might be a further conversation. Maybe we just do a refresh on that little planter out there.
100%. And that's why I think I said 2 right here, and we'll clarify that. We can clarify that in the document. But yeah, we assume that even if the line comes right here and we would just pull these 2 shrubs. I think it's 2, and I'd have to look closer, but yes, we would just refresh that whole landscape planting area for you. We would make it look fresh and new. You guys could choose if you wanted a different shrub or if you want the same thing. We could try to get as mature as possible, and I'm not a landscape expert by any means, but I think you just want to put something that's planted at the right time, that's going to grow well, that's going to fit with kind of the sign and the motif that you already have. So, yes, we would totally work on that. And, we could have our landscapers, beef that landscaping island up around the sign anyways for you. Get some fresh mulch in there, some flowers or whatever you guys need.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then I did notice in the document, you do talk about large trees with for root disruption. Now on this, with the screen that you're sharing right here, it actually looks like it's pretty far from some of the larger trees, but you will have to go down pretty deep. So that there might be a larger tree that you actually have to take out, because what we don't want is to disturb the roots and then 2 or 3 years down the road we have this big massive tree that we're responsible for taking out. So I would probably, and I haven't spoken to anybody else on the board about this, but if there is some root disruption, we probably need to just go ahead and take that tree out now, so we're not having to deal with it in 2 years when it dies.
I 100% agree with you. We could note that as an addition to what you're seeing there. But kind of like you said, we won't know until we get there. But if we disrupt the roots, we could have a clause. Okay, if it's disrupted, let's go ahead and remove that for them.
Yep.
And again, we won't know till we finalize it and get down there. But I've walked it and driven it, and I really don't think we're going to. But we wanted to put that in there just in case.
Yep. Okay. I have two more real quick little things. So right where you're coming across at that sidewalk, that's a pretty steep slope right now. So it would be nice if we could actually get a little closer to a 3-to-1 slope right there instead of it's probably about a 1-to-1 right now. Are you familiar with what I'm talking about with how steep that is? Because you have a culvert that comes out through there, I believe.
I am somewhat familiar. It's been a while since I've walked it, but yeah, I did know that it is quite slanted right there.
So I mean, if you can spare some dirt or whatnot to actually give us a decent slope, because right there, it's very difficult to actually do any beautification to the entrance of the school because of that slope. Can't really do a whole lot with a 1-to-1. So if we could get a little bit better slope coming off there, I know that would probably be very appreciated.
I think I could have one of my land development guys who kind of handles stuff like that. He's actually going to be at a neighborhood kind of near there tomorrow. I'll have him stop by and just take a look at it and kind of give us a quick takeoff on what could be done there. But I'm sure that if it's possible, we can do it for you, because we will have dirt, around the corner, and we have the availability to do that. The question becomes is there a wall? Do you need a 1-layer or a 2-layer wall to make it flat, or will you be able to slope it? And that's what I need to ask him.
Yeah, understand.
But yes, I don't think that would be a problem. As long as it's within reason, we'd be happy to do that. Okay.
This is probably going to be a topic for a longer discussion at another time, but I'm just sort of interested in the feasibility of a future tap into the line up on that top lot.
Yeah, you won't be able to tap into it. There's it's a force main. It's a private force main for this project.
I'm talking about up in this on the subdivision side.
you typically on the
So if you zoom out, where the street dead ends.
oh, okay.
Because eventually we're planning on developing that lot up there, whether that's sports fields and rec centers, or not rec centers, but sports fields with maybe a bathroom or whatnot, or maybe the school goes, another building goes up there. What's the feasibility of tapping into that line in the future?
Well, here's what I can show you. Let me let's see if I can get to this right here. So no, you would not be able to tie into that line right there. I can say that pretty directly because it's a force main. But what I do know, because we've researched this extensively with the board in previous years, is that there is a sewer. First off, the school has sewer attached to it, and you could tie into your own sewer pretty easily. So
That's going to be a long run. That's why I'm asking that.
Yeah,
Go from the top past the top field all the way down.
Yeah, it's totally going to be a long run. But what I'm saying is that with this being a force main, it is a closed system to pumps. So you wouldn't be able to tie in. Now, what you would be able to do is gain access. Let me see this. Come on. You'll have direct access. There will be a water line you could grab, but the sewer line you couldn't grab. Now, we proposed a number of different things to the school previously to try to get a force main out through here or out through here, and to try to do a gravity line this way, but the school did not want to do a gravity line this way, which is why we re-engineered it and gone this way and gone around. So,
Josh, not to interrupt, but are you saying we didn't want to do it, or was it the one that you kind of really lowballed us with a really low figure for the amount of property you were affecting?
Yeah,
I don't think we were against it. It was, I think, once we had Tim Allen come and we saw what the realities of, what he was in the business of doing that, it didn't seem your offer was anything near what market was paying for that type of thing. So it was definitely not a case we didn't want to do something like that. So I think that needs to be cleared for the minutes.
I hear you, Eric. I don't want to split hairs with anybody on it. I apologize if that was an insult to you guys. We really, we do this pretty regularly, and we thought we were offering a fair price. If you guys didn't think that, I apologize. It was not our intention to insult you. But yeah, so we have designed the neighborhood to go with what we think is the best route for our project at this point. And so we have a force main going down Spence Farm and Old Powell to get up to the Kelly Creek Drive line, which, the town agreed with us was a good way to do it. We will have access to a water line there for you guys, and there will be right-of-way access that the town is going to make a stub into it, so that if you guys did want to gain access from our property to get in there, but the sewer line will not be available because it is a closed system with a force main. It does not allow for future tie-ins like a traditional gravity sewer would do.
Okay.
But again, I apologize if I misstated something. It was not my intention.
All right, Scott, I don't have any other questions. Thanks, Josh. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Scott, I have a few things, and Josh, this might be, I think we're fortunate we're on a board that we are in a lot of different places. So help me understand some of the issues you ran into at Vaughn Farms in Anger, because granted, there's the director of public works isn't even there anymore at Anger, but there were some major issues with dealing with an easement there. The point, I think your job was shut down multiple times where they wouldn't issue permits or come out and inspect until you did some things. I think you actually tried to cover up I think it said it was a plastic pipe, whatever the pipe that was calling for ductile iron. So you just stacked a bunch of dirt on it to get it to what would look like a 3-foot level. I think what you are saying is would be comforting if there wasn't this knowledge of, it seems like you or your contractors are prone to cutting corners. And that is my biggest worry, is that all of a sudden we have this project that is like, from a value wise, 0.05% of a budget line item, ends up being like 10% of headaches because it's dragging on from a permitting process. And so from my end, that point in here where you, for remedies for breach, and you've like saying legal issues are not a remedy, I couldn't even support this with that in there. There has to be some type of remedies for breach, and for you to, if you end up interrupting our business operations for a long period of time. I think something that was said was going to be a week, like you said, I think ended up maybe 4-month process that people's property was affected, that they didn't have full access to it. And so I'm interested in how that played out, and why could we trust your word now, knowing what went on there in the town of Anger and how they had to actually basically play hardball with you to honor your commitments.
Eric, I'm not privy to any of that, and wouldn't speak to any of that because I don't know about any of it. I'm speaking to this project. I will speak to the integrity of Mattamy. We've never shirked our responsibility in any project, and would stand firm and stand high in any forum that you put us in. We've created a document that we believe covers all those concerns that you spoke of, especially with timing, scheduling, and things of that nature. And we've tried to go a step ahead of your concerns and make sure that those are covered. If you feel that they need to be covered more, especially in the breach language or something of that nature, we're happy to address that as well. I even spoke with Scott in my conversations, I believe last week, and said that we would be happy to have our attorney reach out to you guys' attorney to make sure that that language is correct, so that there's no ambiguity about timing, scheduling, quality of work, any of that stuff. And as for what happens in a different municipality with a different project, I just don't. Not only am I being honest and saying I don't know what you're talking about, I could probably get some answers, but I don't know what you're talking about. I handle the land acquisition. I handle a lot of the entitlement, a lot of the acquisition of easements and things of that nature, a lot of property owner communication and things of that nature. I work with the attorneys. I work with different municipalities. I've not had, and we do work with people in Anger, and I've not had a single crossword from any of the municipal staff in Anger towards me or towards our company. We have a good working relationship and have multiple projects within their municipality right now. So I'm not sure if that becomes pertinent and you need me to get some answers for you on a board meeting for that, that's fine. But as for this, this is what we did to engineer this site to best fit this site and the needs of the community and of the town. We had proposed a different route originally, but it didn't end up working out. Whether it was, I don't think it was as much on the school as it is on just the route that we intend to go. Seems to be the best route. So it's minimally invasive to your property. It's on property that can't be utilized for anything other than the access road in or out. I wish we could provide service to you through a gravity sewer, but with a force main, it does not allow for a tap into the service. It's just one of the things that force main doesn't really come with. But again, I apologize if you have some bad experience or somebody you know does, Eric. It is not our intention, and I will be happy to stand up in front of any board or speak to anybody and tell you about the integrity of Mattamy, because we are a company of high integrity and a willingness to stand up for what we say. Because, like I said, we intend to be your neighbors. Actually, there's no intent. I mean, we will be your neighbors. We have purchased this property already. We own this property and are going to develop this property for a residential neighborhood. And we want to do it in a way that meets the school's needs as well as our needs, and to be a good neighbor. So I'm happy to address any concerns, but I think the document that we prepared, and we're willing to help amend that document so that if it does address any more concerns, just let me know what we need to do, or if we need to plug our attorney in with the board's attorney. And I think Lisa might be her name if I'm not mistaken, but happy to do that if we can.
Sounds good. Appreciate the info. Anybody else before we wrap this up? All right. Well, Josh, appreciate coming in, sharing this information with us. We'll take a look at that at the agreement and get back with you sometime here soon.
I understand you guys have a meeting next on the 2nd. We would hope that you guys would address it there and let us know any concerns. But we're ready to get moving on this thing, and would love to answer any questions before you guys meet, so that we can make sure that when you guys meet again, that you can address this for us.
Appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Have a good evening.
Yep, you too.
All right. Moving to the next agenda item, we will move to the head of school report. So let's see, Dr. Cotton, the podium is all yours.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Quite a different segue.
Yes.
So my head of school report will begin with, historically, due to our school grade letter of a D from several years ago, we were designated as a school that needed targeted support, comprehensive targeted support. As a result, we had to establish a school improvement team. DPI has been monitoring our progress. And so on February the 9th, they are actually going to have a virtual meeting with us to kind of gauge where we are, not as a compliance issue, but to help us over the next couple of years to make sure that we have the proper structures in place. We had to actually complete a required pre-visit compliance status and self-assessment, which was actually due yesterday, but we submitted that document actually last Thursday. And so now we are gearing up for the virtual visit on February the 9th. And basically, because we have groups of students that have been classified into subgroups that have underperformed, we are now looking at ways in which we can really support these students. So it's really important that we do this work thoughtfully. And I would also like to recognize Dr. Cindy Hoxton, who was our grant writer. She worked with me last week in just helping to complete the report, but she's been instrumental as well because of her prior experience with DPI. Which now kind of segues into, with the departure of Mrs. Kimberly Kowanek, she was actually clerking our school improvement team for a number of years, and she did a wonderful job. Mr. Sean Dayton now is taking over the role of clerk of the school improvement team, and he's going to make sure that all of our agendas, documents, minutes, and action steps are properly loaded onto NC Star. And we're using essentially our school improvement plan that was created several years ago that would be really the premise of the visit on February the 9th, to look at our school improvement plan, to see what has been done, what are the next steps. And so I'm really excited because the school improvement team has evolved. And so I think with Mr. Dayton's now leadership, he will continue to expedite that process. Any questions up until now? Okay. Originally, the plan was to present to the board the 26-27 school calendar. I decided to pause, and I realized that this is really a collaborative effort. So when we were talking with the leadership team last week and they started giving input and we started kind of brainstorming around the table, I realized then that more work needed to go into the school calendar. So now we have the administrative leadership team collaborating on the school calendar. And then the next step will be to get staff members involved to get their input. But I kind of wanted to frame this with, we're looking at elements now to incorporate into the school calendar. So one of the things that we're looking at are our instructional days, our seat time requirements. We're looking at extending the school day. We're also looking at our buffer days for inclement weather. We're looking at adding professional development days aligned to instructional growth. And we're also looking at ways in which we can better utilize portfolio days throughout the entire school. So that in itself, I kind of did the rough draft, and then we collaborated. Now Principal Golf is looking at it as well. But my goal is that we will submit this ahead of next month's board meeting. And then on the February meeting, we'll be able to approve the calendar. I'm really excited about what potentially could happen. I know last year, due to the fact that we were not a designated remote learning school, we had to extend the school year. So I think the work now that's being done gives us a lot of flexibility. So I just wanted to kind of update you on where we are with the school calendar. Questions?
The designated remote, do you got to reapply for that every year, or is that once you got approved the first time?
I'm not sure. We'll look into it, but I don't think you have to reapply.
You have to update your plan every year, but it's not so much of an application, just as that you have a formal plan. As long as you have a formal plan, you typically get approved.
Okay.
But it is a yearly thing.
All right. Yeah, as long as we're good there. Don't want to.
Oh yeah, it has helped us out tremendously. I'm also excited to, and you may have, Scott may have shared this with you, kind of taking part of Scott's language in terms of Scott's very passionate about the school. He's passionate about the growth of the school. Those of you that have been around him, and he's always using, he wants to win. He wants to win. And so I kind of took that and incorporated into our ongoing discussions. And so I've introduced a framework. It's called the WIN framework, which we've been developing for the administrative team. And really, it's a leadership tool aligned to really clarify priorities, strengthen coordination across departments, ensure that our work remains focused on outcomes that matter most for students and staff. At a very high level, the WIN framework helps us describe what does success look like, who owns the work, how progress is monitored. Really, it's an artifact. And my goal is to share and go into much greater detail next week with the board. The artifact, kind of walk you through it, but I'm really excited about it because it's kind of like it's like a playbook, and you're developing that playbook so that we're all on the same page. And I think that's the piece that I'm really excited about. and just getting collaborative feedback. And so that's what we're working on now, and what we're hoping to launch, especially as the administrative team becomes more familiar with the tool. We introduced it to them last week. I'm going to walk them through it next week. But I think this is something that can really help us with our work, particularly as we have such talented administrators, and in each area of their department, they are responsible for so many different variables that ultimately impact the school. So it's about trying to make sure that we're all on the same page and that we all understand what each other is working on. So I'm really excited about that. Questions about the WIN framework? Like I said, I will introduce the artifact to you next week. I'm also working on the DPI's teacher working conditions survey. And it's something that has been very comprehensive, but basically the survey is designed to get teacher feedback to help DPI help schools across North Carolina, but then also for our school to give us feedback as well. I think you can never have too much information. I know that the staff took a 360 evaluation, and I think with this survey, it really kind of will help gauge kind of the pulse of our staff, our teachers. So we will administer this tool in the spring, and then DPI will then share the results with us later. In the packet of information, well, the agenda that I shared with Leslie last Thursday, there are 2 action items that need board approval. The first is we have hired Mr. Eric Clark. He is our new 6th grade math teacher, 7th grade science teacher. He has an engaging personality, and he's made an immediate impression amongst our staff and our students already. And what I really like, he has a background in counseling. So dealing with middle school students, you have to have some sort of a, understanding of the child, the whole child. And so it was interesting because Principal Goff placed him on his onboarding in Mrs. Sanders' high school math class. And so he immediately gauged with Mrs. Sanders, gauged with the students. And then she said he took the initiative, brought students to the back of the room and organized kind of a small impromptu group, giving them additional support. And then the next day, the students wanted to know, where's that guy at? So he's already making, I think, an immediate impact on our staff. And so I'm really happy that he's with us. So tonight I'm seeking approval of his employment agreement that was shared with you last week.
All right, thank you, Dr. Cotton. Board, is there any questions, comments, discussion items for the contract?
I do not.
All right. If we do want to move forward, can we get a motion for approval?
I'll motion. This is Eric. I'll motion for approval.
Thank you, Eric. Can we get a second?
This is Amy. I'll second.
Thank you, Amy. All in favor for approval, say aye.
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 Any noes? I don't believe. All right. That this has been approved, Dr. Cotton.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And now we have 3 stipends that I'm also seeking approval on as well. The first stipend is for Principal Goff, working outside of her scope. She has developed the framework for our MTSS program. And as I've said before in the past, the school needs an MTSS program. We've talked about it, but then Principal Goff being one that just takes things head on, she decided to go ahead and help to develop the framework, to implement it as well. And so that falls outside of her scope. So I'm seeking approval of a stipend for her. I'm also seeking an approval for Mr. Cockrell. When we had to collapse the schedule, he was asked to take on an additional class, which left him with no planning. So he has 4 back-to-back classes that he willingly accepted and is engaging in. And so we offered him a stipend to take on that additional work, which really helped in terms of being able to offer an additional class. I'm also seeking approval for Mr. Turner, Lamar Turner, who is a parent, and he's helping to support our athletic director, Coach Doak, with his AD responsibilities. He's been instrumental in terms of being there for home games, helping to support behind the scenes, and also traveling with teams as well. I think together they've made a really successful team. So I am presenting those 3 stipends tonight for board approval.
Maybe you could just, what is the MTSS? What does that mean? I'm not sure we have it all.
Principal Goff, you want to explain your baby?
Is sure. MTSS stands for multi-tiered systems of support. I'm sorry, my dog is not happy that I'm on the phone. There are academic and behavioral structures here that basically students who are not being successful during tier 1 or first round of instruction have the opportunity to engage in interventions, some extra work to build and fill gaps. It also crosses over into, as you start looking for kids that are potentially being referred for deeper services, 504 and or EC, those interventions and that data comes into play. But it is primarily a general ed thing where students who aren't being successful in the classroom have the opportunity to have some structured interventions, plans, progress monitoring. It used to be called RTI, response to intervention, but that's what that is. Any questions?
I have one question.
No.
So is that requested by DPI to have that program spelled out? Where did that come from?
Well,
It's twofold. It's number one, it is best practice. Students, not every single student is going to get instruction in their regular classroom first time through. There's a lot of this kind of support that can happen within the classroom, but having a structured support and a way to track that data. And then it is also required by NCDPI.
and Trish, you may remember
Thank you.
when the accreditation committee was on campus several years ago, that was one of the things that they had red flagged us on.
Thank you for reminding me.
All right. Is there any other comments, discussion items for
I will-
stipends?
So I don't have any issues with any of the stipends that are listed out here. So when somebody makes a motion, I'll second or whatever. I do have one comment. Dr. Khan, I still would like to see at some point, I think this probably will be wrapped into your WIN framework going forward, is just some sort of construct to how we do stipends. I know there's always going to be some sort of the one-offs, but when we're looking across the board, how do you build? How is it going into the budgeting on an annual basis? Does that make sense?
Yep.
It's more just about forward planning, having standards, which we're held to. But I didn't have any issues with any of these things. So I guess I can make a motion. So I'll make a motion to approve the stipend for Mr. Turner, Principal Goff, Eric Clark, and Mr. Cockrell.
Do we have a second?
Mark will second.
Mark will second. All right. All in favor to approve all three stipends, say aye.
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 Wasn't there four?
Just three.
Just three.
We
Thank
have
you.
the
Add another
employment
one.
agreement for Mr. Clark.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You're
Mr.
right.
Clark was,
All right. Well, the stipends have been approved. Dr. Cotton.
Thank you. Next, I would like to turn this part of the meeting over to Mr. Bob Beatty, who has been asked to give a marketing update. And then now following his update, we'll turn it over to the administrators for their reports.
Thank you, Dr. Cotton, and good evening, everyone. What I want to do today is just share some brief metrics with you of what we've been up to of late, and then I want to also talk about some things that we would like to set into motion here in the very near future to ensure that we hit the number that we're aiming for with our new enrollment and our retention for 26-27. Since we started open enrollment as of yesterday, we're up to 72 people who have applied through lotteries. We're averaging about 2 applicants a day. Our advertising, as we follow the metrics, look really solid to us. One of the things we watch closely is our engagement with our meta ads, which are primarily Facebook. If we're north of a 3% with a click-through rate, we feel like that's getting the engagement we're looking for. The video ad that we've been running since just after the first of the year is still at about a 3.62 average. So we feel pretty good about that. Since we started our advertising in conjunction with the start of open enrollment on December 1st, we've served about 320,000 impressions. We've had about 6,500 clicks. We send people after they've seen our content to the enrollment page where there is a really strong call to action that gets people right to lotteries, but also gives them a chance to look at content that gives them more information about the school. So if they've just seen the ad for the first time, they're not familiar with us, or they want to be reinforced by what they've seen, we find that getting them to the enrollment page first is a pretty effective way of doing that. We also lean heavily into Google AdWords. Since we've launched the new version of the campaign on December 1st, we've generated just over 1,000 clicks. And those are people, just as a reminder, who are really sort of self-qualified prospects. They're the people that are online looking for charter schools, public schools, highly rated schools, schools near me. In some cases, competitors' names of schools. And so we find that when people are looking for us through Google AdWords, they're people that generally are interested, where with Facebook and secondarily Instagram, we're inserting ourselves into feeds based on consumer and demographic profiles. So we try to do sort of a pincer effect with them both. Our plan is to update the video content probably within the next week or so. The ad that we have in there right now starts with Principal Goff, and we have a handful of teachers all really speaking enthusiastically and effectively about the benefits of the school. And so as we see with the results of the click-through rates, we feel like those are getting the kind of engagement that we're looking for. So we have a lot of content that we've secured from our visits to campus, and so we will continue to tweak, modify, and freshen the content so that we continue to get the kind of results that we're looking for. In the last 28 days, we continue to be very active in driving the social media activities of the school. In the last 4 weeks, we did 45 Facebook posts and 43 Instagram posts. And again, that's even with the holidays in there. So we wound up with just over 155,000 views for our content, with just over 66,000 different people seeing them. And so again, we see evidence there that the activity, the variety of things that we're talking about, sharing with people, school activities, events coming up, things that our students have been involved with, as well as promoting the open enrollment activities. So we think the combination of those things have proven to be pretty effective. And so, I'll send this report along to everybody so you can take a look at the numbers. And if there's any follow-up questions you have for me, certainly please feel free to do that. One of the other key findings, and I'll touch on this.
Eric, I think you're on off mute.
To hold all week, and then we get this one. I think we're gonna get.
Eric, I think you're off mute.
One of the other things I'll touch on a little bit more here in a minute, but a key finding that I wanted to share with you is that the school leadership and Heather and a few of our teachers are working to methodically start to introduce content creation with our students, video content in particular. Some of you may have seen a video that some of our middle school students created about a week or so ago to promote yearbook sales. And that was, a significant hit as far as organic activity goes. We had over 10,000 views and hundreds of people engaging, either sharing or liking or commenting. And so, we see that as a real clear indication that really leaning into the activities of our students is an important tactical part of what we need to keep doing and doing more of. In talking to Heather in our weekly meeting yesterday, they've identified students who are not only passionate about this, but in a lot of cases have their own following. And so we want to be able to work with them. The school leadership will be working with them to make sure that the messaging is appropriate, but very much with the voice of the students. And so as we see those activities take place, we also want to be able to take some of that content and repurpose it for some of the general marketing that we do as well. But we think that, leaning into that, the other thing that we're rolling out is a greater emphasis on just overall YouTube presence as well. We're pushing to get the video content that we do with Dr. Cotton every other week into an archived library. And we also want to look for content that the students create that is appropriate to move over into a general YouTube environment as well. So, that's something else that we really want to be developing here in the next handful of months. We continue to push out newsletters every week. Heather's our secret weapon. She does a great job of kind of setting the tone with the types of content that we want to share. And I think we've done a good job of sharing a wide variety of different messages as well. So one of the things that Dr. Cotton and I were talking on Friday, one of the things that we, I think I'm a little biased, but I feel like if you look at the work that Heather's done and that we've supported her with, and others as well, the PTA Booster Club, there have been a lot of people who have really worked hard at building communications, strengthening engagement. And, we would like to think that the newsletter capturing that information on a weekly basis has been a significant part of it. We generally send out to over 800 people every week, and our open rates are always close to 70%. So we're encouraged by that and see that as a really good part of the overall process of not only looking for new students, but also to really reinforce for our current families that they have made the right choice and continue to make the right choice.
Hey, Bob, this is Jim, just real quick, just so I can understand that process. What is the process of the newsletter that goes out? So what part is done by staff? What part is done by you? Do you guys compile, or is it just, how does that actually work?
It varies a little bit week by week, Jim, but generally what happens is we have a Google Doc that we've created, and Heather is the primary architect of that document. We meet with Heather every Monday. One of the things among the other things we talk about is we go through the newsletter. What do we have? What do we want to talk about this week? Candidly, there are a lot of occasions where we have the idea of what we want to do on Monday, but she needs to work with the leadership team on Wednesday to get the specific information that we're looking for. Generally speaking, Heather does a lot, but not all of the writing. And I would say the graphics generally are kind of split down the middle, 50-50, maybe 60-40 in our direction. And so we get the information from Heather during the course of the week. And then, we build the newsletter. The newsletter usually gets built on Thursday so that we're sure we have all the content that we need. We send it over to Heather, and she forwards it to Principal Goff. Thursday, sometimes late Thursday. And then we get an approval, or we say, let's tweak this or tweak that. And then we send it out to everybody on Friday. And then Monday we start all over again.
All right, thanks.
So Heather, I think Heather is kind of the visionary. And, we have carte blanche to tweak the content as we see fit, but, that might just be a little bit of wordsmithing here or there, or saying, we don't have a headline, but here's a headline we think will work well. So I think it's a really good collaboration. Back when I had knees and reflexes, I used to play a fair amount of volleyball. Heather's a pretty good setter. She's pretty good at getting the ball up in the air, and then that gives us a chance to look pretty good at the net. So that's
yeah. I just want to know. Was curious as to the process of who was doing what. So it sounds like Heather's. Because I know on the Booster Club side, we send the stuff to Heather if we have stuff, and then she compiles everything. Then PTO does the same thing. So pretty much it goes in with whatever we send to her. So I was just curious as to
and the other thing that
she is.
The other thing I didn't really touch on
20,000 things.
I'm sorry.
I'm just saying that she's slammed with 20,000 other things. So this is just one thing that of the many that she's doing. So I'm just curious.
Yes. Well,
right,
and the other thing that I didn't really touch on, Jim, that I should have is, so there's that conversation, but then there's also the Heather and Ellen from my team's conversation, because those two are constantly working with each other to get social media posts up as well. And so sometimes that's creative from Heather that may have come from a booster club. Sometimes that's an idea that Ellen or someone else on my team creates and then pushes out. So it's a steady flow of information. And I think one of the things that we've been working really, really hard on is just trying to make those things as seamless as possible and to make the best use of the content as we can. And we were talking about that in our meeting yesterday. I feel like if you look at where we are now and where we were back in September, it's a big difference. I mean, we have our processes down pretty tightly. We know what we're doing, and I think we're pretty pleased with the direction that that's moving in. So but there's a lot of stuff going on there, and I think Heather has done a great job sort of being that fulcrum that gets the right information to the right people, and hopefully we're a key part of helping her get that information out to folks. So there's that. What I wanted to talk about with overall open enrollment is, and this, Jim, you've asked me on a couple of occasions, hey, what are you guys doing different now? How have you evolved since we started this thing? And so tonight I want to talk to you about a direction where we want to move in terms of how we build out the enrollment. And I'm not throwing anyone under the bus, because Dr. Cotton and I were talking on Friday. Again, I'm biased and I have a unique perspective, but I'm a really big fan of this leadership team. I really feel like Dr. Cotton, some of the people he's hired, the people he's retained, it's hard to turn around a cruise liner on a dime. And so there's a lot of hard work involved. There's a lot of things that these guys have been doing, I think, to really build the esprit de corps, the sense of communication and engagement. And I think, our group plays a small part in that, just in terms of reflecting that. But one of the things that we've been pushing for a while is to get more exposure to what's happening with the applicants that are coming in through the pipeline. And we just haven't really had a lot of success with that. And so Dr. Cotton and I were talking a little bit on Friday, and I've proposed to him, and he said he would give us some consideration. I think we need to put more resources against that piece of it. We have 70 some odd people right now who have not just raised their hands, they've applied. And my perspective is, I don't think we've done an effective job of keeping in touch with them. We haven't followed up with them. And so what I mentioned to Dr. Cotton on Friday was, I would even go so far as to suggest that we consider, I have a person that's on the admissions team at one of our other schools, and part of her task is to literally follow up with every single person. The minute that they've applied in short order, we want to get on a phone call with them to thank them for applying. What questions do you have? How can we answer your concerns? Would you like to sign up for a tour? Would you like to, have a conversation with one of our leadership members? What can we do to, facilitate your decision-making process and convince you that our school is the right school for you. I've talked with her in theoretical terms. She has some time at the end of the day, and she loves doing this. And I think if that were something we would be interested in considering, I think she would enthusiastically support helping us. And she's at a nearby school and has some familiarity with our school, so she could be a really good candidate for, setting aside a few hours at the end of the day. The process, the way we're doing it, and we're doing this with all of our schools now. We've just reached the conclusion that we can't do it the old way, where we wait until the lottery gets run and then we start to engage with these people. That time is too late in the process. I said in my note here, if you look at where we are right now, we've got Pine Springs opening a high school and looking for hundreds of ninth graders this fall. We've got TMSA opening a so-called satellite campus up the road on NC 55, and that's primarily so they can seat another 1,000 kids. We can't afford to just sit back. We've got a good story to tell, but we've got to be really proactive about how we do it. So what I'm proposing is that my team can bring on a person to set aside 8 or 10 hours a week to just engage with every person who applies, to keep a close tab on them, do what we need to do, answer what we need to answer to make sure we give them the best informed information that will convince them that Southern Wake is the right school for them. In that context, I think that if we can do that sort of thing, it will also answer some of the other questions that I think Jim especially has been focused on, which is how are people finding out about us? Why are they interested in coming to our school? How successful are we in taking them from a click on an ad to actual completion of an application to commitment to enrollment? And so I think what I'm saying is that with the way the school is structured right now, we haven't been able to collectively provide enough resource allocations to really complete that circle. And that's something that I'm strongly recommending that the school consider. Along those same lines, what that also does is it expands the process. And so one of the things that Student Services is doing that I'm really excited about is, they're doing kind of an introduction to high school for our 8th grade students. I'm proposing that we open that up to every 8th grade student within the sound of our voice. Create an opportunity for students at Holly Springs Middle School or any middle school you can think of to also be a part of that process. If we do that, so it may be that needs to be a separate event. One is just for our kids and one is for the general public. But at whatever point we're able to do that sort of event for the public, it does a couple of really important things. I mean, first of all, it gives parents the information they need. And my understanding from talking to Heather yesterday was that the way this event is formatted, it includes teachers, it includes leadership, but it also includes parents and students. And so it's not like there's one person doing all the heavy lifting. So it wouldn't hopefully be something that would require a lot of work on one person's part, but would be spread. But I think the more important thing is now we have people in our building and in a no pressure environment, giving them the opportunity to see our students and our teachers and our parents firsthand. And so it's not just our people telling them what to be prepared for high school. They're actually seeing it in our context. They get a chance to build some relationships there. And so what we're proposing is either fold the general public into that 9th grade introductory event or consider doing a separate one. And I've been accused of being the king of coming up with work for other people to do, but I think that would be a really effective tactical thing for us to consider. And then I think once we've accomplished that, I think we run the same play again, but now we do it for 5th graders. Same sort of thing. We reach out. And I know, Jim, you and I have also talked about geofencing and hyper targeting. And so that's another case where not only are we doing general marketing that is specific to these events, but we can also be hyper targeted around, elementary schools for the 6th grade event, middle schools for the 9th grade event. And we can do our level best to try to get as many people into our building, seeing our people as possible. And then, of course, while we're there, we just happen to have some tablets. So if people would like to apply or would like to sign up for a tour or would like to follow up with Principal Goff to ask a few more questions, they absolutely have that opportunity. So, we're really advocating for taking a much more proactive approach to the entire enrollment process and not making it such a passive activity. The other thing along those same lines is as we're talking to these families and offering to answer their questions, encouraging them to do tours, another thing that we'd like to be able to offer up is if you'd like to have a conversation with one of our parents, please let us know. We'd be happy to make that connection for you. And then even beyond that, another thing that Heather's been talking with us about is a real concerted effort on the school's part to really fortify our ambassador program. We think that's another key part of this vision as well. So now I'm a ninth grade girl at Holly Springs High School, and this is not working for me. What would be the impact if I had the opportunity to talk to a sophomore or a junior at Southern Wake, just the two of them, and the student can be really candid and credible about the experience that they're having at Southern Wake. So if we have a person who can sort of be the gatekeeper, can provide that information, access to people who can give them insights, we think that being really proactive is going to be essential for us. We're in the ring with a couple of really strong heavyweight fighters here. And we've just got to be able to demonstrate that if we're working this hard and this interested in your student, and they haven't even set foot on campus, imagine what it's going to be like when they become a student here. So that's another thing that we want to be able to do. Again, this is me being the king of getting work for other people. We do this a lot with our schools before they open for the first time, but I think it would be applicable to do it here as well, where we always try to get people in the building for tours, but sometimes we do it in the daytime because that's when our teachers are there. They can get a feel for the school, but people work all day. They don't have time to do it. They get home at night. They're tired. They don't want to go back out. If we can also start to do weekly Zoom calls and give people opportunities to drop in, it may well be we only have 3 people this week. We have 4 people next week. We have 2 people or 6 people. But then we also do it in a way where every week there's a different topic. So this week it might be athletics. Next week it might be our clubs and electives. The week after that, it might be our student services. Next week it might be middle school. We could structure this in a way where every week there's a different person who's tasked with taking the lead. And what we find with our schools that are opening is they're not always well attended, but the people that are there are serious about being there. If my son has aspirations to be a middle school athlete, I'd love to kind of sit in and talk to the athletics people and see what that's all about. Yes, Jim.
Hey Bob, if I could, I don't know if this meeting is going to be really long if we strategize on the best ways to do all of this stuff. And so I have a couple things that I would like for you to take note of.
Okay.
And then come back with a very direct answer on what these are. So at the very beginning, you mentioned that you've had 72 click-throughs.
We've had 72 applicants.
72 applicants.
Yes.
So a couple things on that. Where does that compare to last year? So that will probably be Mr. Dayton and Mr. Lane type question. If we have 72 applicants today, take a point in time where we're at last year at that same date.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's going to give us some sort of objective measurement of, are we actually improving?
Mm-hmm.
You said 3% click through. You said you feel good. Feeling good doesn't necessarily mean we're doing good. So how does that actually compare to industry standard? Right. And I'm not really looking for answers right now. I just this is more becoming a pretty long discussion.
Right. I
and
mean,
then also,
go ahead.
What have we done with the SEO? Have we improved our SEO? And then have we geofenced any specific areas? Because we've talked about that multiple times. I think you brought up the 27526, 27520, or 540, the different area codes right around here. That's not really a geofence. That's putting in the area code for these counties. Are there specific areas that you're actually geofencing? And if not, let's do that. So those are, I like, again, I don't think these are really discussion points right now. I'll just be very interested in getting that information. We have that planning session coming up, I believe, next week. So that'd be something that would be really nice to have in our pocket when we go into that planning session.
Okay. All right. I can do my best. Yep. So that's someone's
Okay.
getting the hook and saying time to get off the stage. So, but I'm always happy to answer questions. And again, I think the thing I just want to leave you with is that I'm eager to see us push further and to find ways to invest more resources into making sure that we don't just get the applicants, but we really bear down hard to make sure we reel them in as enrolled family members. So,
Yeah. Hey, actually,
Bob,
go ahead.
Bob, I got a question here. Have you talk about these number of enrollment applications? Have you hit your goal or hit our goal?
I'll be
enrollment
100% candid, Scott. I don't have a goal because we still haven't gotten retention numbers. That it's a slow, laborious process that I would have hoped to have had numbers a long time ago, but we're,
even based off last year's
I'm
numbers.
not throwing anybody under the bus, but we're just everybody's wearing a lot of hats, and so some of the data that I'm accustomed to having, we just don't have.
Yeah, we don't need to throw people under the bus. We just got to find the answers. But you mentioned if with some of these applicants that have already applied, and hey, we need to. You said, hey, maybe you need to throw another person at it to stay in contact with those folks. One, I think that was part of your initial conversation with us when we were asking, hey, what is Bob? Bob, what does your group do? I remember hearing that specific thing. So to me, if we're not doing that and you're talking about adding somebody, and your numbers might not be exactly where they are, then I would encourage for you to do whatever you got to do to continue hitting those numbers. So if you think that you got to get it done, then I mean, I would think that's already part of the deal. So,
well, to be clear, I would say that the part that those are areas that are customarily done in the admissions side of this thing.
Okay.
Which is not, I mean, we can have that conversation, but.
Sure. Okay. Well, we got some more, more that we can do here. So, let's hit it hard and continue hitting it hard because, yeah, well, I mean, I'm on the same page as you. There's a lot of competition out here, and we gotta get on them and continue to stay on all our applicants. So.
Yeah, and we can't do it the way it is traditionally done, where you just wait till the lottery gets run and then you reach out to your people and go from there. That's what I'm really advocating for.
When is our, maybe Dr. Khan, when is our lottery approval? Have we sent any acceptances to any of these, or when's that date?
No, we don't run the lottery until the end of the month.
It's the end of the month, end of February. Okay.
Hey, Bob, my last question was on when you hit apply on our page, it goes to lotteries.com. Who sets up that page? Why can't we get it? Why can't we get a single text box in there that says, how'd you hear about us?
Once you've applied, we capture that information.
No, on this first page, lotteries.com. You hit apply, it goes to lotteries.com. Somebody within our school system updates that page. First name, last name, address, city, state, phone number, email verification, password. How did you hear about us? A single text box answers a lot of questions. That's also, maybe that's another question you can put on that list. It'd be nice.
Well, just to be clear, once you finish hitting apply, that question comes up.
So everybody that applies, we should have that answer for?
We should.
Okay. Scott, I don't have anything else. Thanks.
Yep, I'm good as well.
Just
Dr.
just a clarifying point. One of the things that Bob didn't mention, he is correct. Normally in-house, well, in a lot of independent or private schools that I've been associated with, there is that person that once someone applies, that follows up to help walk them through the admissions funnel. And currently we don't have that in place, but those are some of the things that we're now trying to establish or set up. So I just wanted to be clear with that.
And that was my question, for a while. I had the impression that we were going to be able to accomplish that internally, and it just doesn't seem like that's happened. And again, I'm not disparaging anybody. There's a lot. The greatest appreciation I think I've had since we started working at Southern Wake is just the massive amount of stuff that needs to get done if you're running a 6 through 12 school.
It's heavy.
It's a lot of stuff. And so this is just one of those things that, once it's become evident to me that that's not getting done on the school admissions side, my opinion is it's got to get done by somebody. And I could find somebody who we could, pay to do it 8 or 10 hours a week and get that piece of it accomplished.
Yeah, Dr. Cotton, let's you think about that and develop a good plan.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Bob. I don't know if Principal Goff is still here. I know she had something that she needed to do since the meeting is running long.
I'm here.
Okay, I was going to share it for you, but the floor is yours.
Mine is short and sweet. So I kind of have created a template that repeats itself. So the same highlights about culture with the weekly newsletters and emails to staff and things there. The two newest things are that we are going to shift to monthly PLCs. Still working. I got some good feedback from leadership team this past week on how to structure and schedule those things to be the most effective. So I'm still working through the best structure, but we're going to do it once a month, a little bit longer once a month. And that will resume in February. Whatever that structure is, it'll be the idea is to get as many of the same content area people in the room at the same time so that we can be really strategic with that. So that's kind of where we're kind of trying to be creative, because not all planning periods align nicely and that kind of thing. So that's one of the new things. The other new thing is that we are starting to map out our plan to develop the 26-27 master schedule. The first step is to kind of chunk it into the different tasks and assign timelines and people who are responsible. I am attending a professional development February 9th, 10th, and 11th. And there's a lot of sessions during those 3 days on building master schedules. So I'm going to bring back some of that information as well into this plan. But those are the two newest things on my report.
All right, thank you, Principal Goff. Let's see, next, Dr. Crutcher's EC report.
So unfortunately, I don't have the privilege of providing you the same brevity that April was able to provide. Good evening. I'm going to share this as a PDF. Content only share. I think I got it. I'm a little bit more of a Google girly myself. And this is not the beginning of the document. All right. So if you bear with me. So this is my report. I will share the PDF with the board chair and Dr. Cotton. It has a link to a YouTube video that's just the link only, where I actually talk through it, because I'm not going to talk through it with as much detail in this board meeting, just due to the subject matter. However, I would encourage you to please listen in on the details of it, because it does include a lot of highlights. So the first thing I'm going to tackle is compliance. So I always provide you guys a compliance report. This is going to be a little bit more intricate in how I explain it. So you will notice here that it's telling us that we have 1% of our students non-compliant, 2 of them have expired IEPs, and 6 of them have expired eligibility. On the next slide, I show myself as case manager, where due to the vacancies, I am now case manager for 39 of our students. In my caseload, you will see 37 compliant IEPs, 2 non-compliant IEPs. You will also see I have 37 compliant eligibilities and 2 non-compliant eligibilities. The 2 non-compliant IEPs are related to students who just joined SWA in the month of January from external schools that came to us with both expired eligibilities. So you'll see that here in this column. I don't know if y'all can see that square. And then they have expired end dates for their IEPs. So in fact, SWA actually met December 1st child count for the students that we had existing. And then we had students that came in, and that's why we have these 2 expired IEPs. The remaining out of compliance eligibilities are for existing SWA students that when we met for their reevaluations, that happens triannually, so every 3 years, the IEP team requested formal testing. So that's where those and those timelines go out, but the child count is based on current IEPs. So this is just showing best practice of, we looked at the data, we determined that it was not recent or relevant. So then we requested new data to make sure that we're making decisions about kids and what their needs are based on updated data. So that is that compliance. There's also a note about MTSS. I'm glad that that was brought up because MTSS concerns have caused delays in our 90-day timeline for 2 students. And this is important because this is reported to the federal government through Indicator 11. So because this is something, I appreciate Ms. Endicott for raising that. Yes, it is required by DPI because it is a component of determining eligibility for students with a specific learning disability. And so because of the delays of getting MTSS going at SWA, we have 66% or 2 out of 3 of our students that were initial referrals this school year that had delayed 90-day timelines because the policies around MTSS require us to apply interventions for at least 6 weeks so that we can see if they responded to the intervention. Was it effective? The DPI monitoring threshold for this indicator is a 50%. So I just want the board to be aware that this is something that will get flagged because of, and so I hope that this helps paint the picture of the interconnectedness of the organizational capacity as it relates to special education. Additionally, there's additional NCDPI guidance to audit files for students that currently exist at SWA with areas of eligibility in autism and specific learning disabilities. In the video that's in YouTube, I go into more detail about their rationale for why they recommended that. But for understanding of board, it's important to note that 70 out of our 100 students with IEPs need their files audited. And so that's something that I will have to identify time to do on top of all the other things that are going on. Due to staffing needs, that's the next thing. So we're down 1.5 SPED teachers. And I go into detail about programming concerns and staffing needs. And I speak more to that in the YouTube video, but I do want you guys to know that families have expressed concerns. So this is something that I hope that we can get some support in getting this mitigated soon. OCS, there's updates on work hours. I conducted work hour audits for our seniors in January. I provided Dr. Cotton and the leadership team a more detailed update on January 20th that he can then outline for you guys what I identified from those audits for student-specific data. And then our off-campus work hours partnership with Community Workforce Solutions ended. So our students ended with a 30 hours of paid internship during school hours. And I'm continuing to work with our parents to provide updates and collaborate with them on plans for getting our seniors their work hours that they need. The last thing I want to amplify is just the training and capacity building that goes along with compliance. So I've met with gen ed teachers in professional learning communities, specifically English language arts, to explore the tools, strategies, and resources that they need to meet the needs of our students that have reading deficits in their general education classes. So making sure that I'm not just only focusing on what EC teachers need, but also making sure that our general education teachers know how to meet the needs of diverse learners. For my EC team, I've had 2 after-school team meetings where we focused on establishing data collection practices and processes, because that's something that came to our attention, that teachers may have the resources. I can give them Easy CBM and have the school purchase that, but having them get into the practice of having a process that they're doing it regularly to secure the data that's needed is something that has been identified as a major need. Additionally, growing our staff capacity, that compliance is bigger than just deadlines and timelines. With that, there are also videos that I created that I shared with EC teachers and the leadership team, including Dr. Cotton, April, everybody. We shared the components of EC compliance. So once again, helping people understand that compliance is deeper than just timelines and deadlines. Understanding the policy that governs special education, which is free and appropriate public education, and how do we determine as a school and an IEP team what is appropriate. And then the IEP process for removing areas of specially designed instruction. So just really trying to hammer in on, okay, we've gotten some things in place. We know a little bit better about what we're supposed to be doing. Now let's get and trying to move towards effectiveness. And the last thing I'm really excited to share is that SWA will actually host NCDPI LEA representative training in March. And so that means that NCDPI staff will come into our building to help not only train our staff, but then other leaders across charters across the region. And this is just a really good way for us to partner with NCDPI, and also for us to grow in our capacity to like lead the way in that we don't just do special education programs, but that we are doing it and we're working to excel. And I think to Mr. Schultz, he says we're going to be the best, right? So this is a way for us to establish ourselves that we want to be leaders in this work to meet students' needs. So thank you so much. If you have questions, of course, I am more than happy to answer.
Do you have a date for that?
I believe it's the 18th of March, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, thank you.
No questions. Very, very good. Appreciate the update. And that's exciting.
All right, thank you, Dr. Crutcher. I was just checking my calendar. Yes, about our LEA training. Thank you so much. Mr. Dayton.
I am here. Can you hear me? Just want to confirm. All right. Welcome. Hope everyone's staying warm. Looks like everyone has power. That's good news. Typically, my update concludes teacher licensure. We are above 70% currently. We do have that new hire, so I have a chance to sit down with Mr. Clark this coming Thursday in a couple days to see where he's at. Continue to serve our teachers in that way. I'm also looking forward to the SIT team, and I've been working with the SIT team, but to serve in a different capacity to help lift up our school a little more directly and learn about that program and digging in. We're currently continuing our second Tuesday of the month schedule, so that won't change. Any questions specifically?
I do not.
All right. I have my camera. I don't see myself. I think that's a good thing. I don't know if you guys see.
We see you.
Okay. I guess it's better than talking and watching yourself talk. So, yeah. All right.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you for the update.
All right.
Mr. Lane is not here this evening, so that concludes our leadership team reports.
Okay, sorry, nothing.
Let me check real quick if he did mention this is Mr. Lane. They did bleacher inspection, come back good, minor recommendation such as the upgrade to an electric bleacher. That's just a recommendation. He wanted to thank the PTO and Booster Club for the ice machine that was installed a few weeks ago. Sounds like it's been operating very well. So he did want to thank those two groups. And I think that was it from the operations side. So sure he's got more when he can attend, but all right. We'll move into PTO athletic boosters update. I don't see anybody on the PTO. Does anybody have an update? No. Athletic boosters. Is there any updates there?
No, I did just speak with them a little bit ago. They're going to start coming. So we have a new Booster Club president. It's Heather Holland. New vice president is Carrie. Oh, geez, Carrie. And
Carrie's
then,
watching.
I know.
Maybe.
Machito might something like that. And then Jenny Allen. So they are going to start coming to these, and but no, they've been doing a really good job. I'm very happy with the engagement that they've had. They've been buying a bunch of different swag for the different games and having a lot more presence out there. So it's been really good.
Very good. Thank you. We'll get into some committee reports. Governance committee. I know we've had a long break here. I don't know if anybody has reconvened for the new year yet, but Tricia.
We met this week, this past week, and had a brief meeting. Basically talked a little bit about staffing, and which Dr. Cotton addressed this evening, and a backup plan for the weather, which they all already had in place, and the DPI, which he mentioned as well. We talked a little bit about the budget and just getting ahead of that, which he already was ahead of. And putting a template. They already had met with the finance, and I'm sure Mark will touch on that as well. And we did talk about one other thing about the computer lab, and I think he might be addressing that next month. So that was it.
Actually, Trish, thank you for reminding me. I guess, and I think Dr. Crutcher uses the word capacity, and then Bob was talking about all of the various projects that we have going on. And what I wanted to ask the board is that can we pump the brakes or just slow down with our rollout of the computer lab? We're still rolling out the computer lab, but I think it would be a great marketing sale or tool if we can roll it out at the beginning of the upcoming school year. I think right now we just got so many projects that we're working on. And the other piece, selfishly, I really don't want to relocate teachers. They just started the second semester. So I just think I want to move forward with this project of rolling out the lab because I think it's something that the school needs. But I just want to also be thoughtful in our timing. And I'm asking that we can just roll it out at the beginning of the year and not in a couple of weeks as we had originally intended.
It's okay with me.
It does seem logical to me.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yep. I think my only comment is purchasing the equipment since it was approved during this budget year. You may want to pay for it during the budget year, unless you, I don't know, Mark, you carry over a line item or something like that in the next year if you had to. But just since it was approved
No,
already.
that's a great point. In talking with Hunter, everything has been purchased. Right now, we're just waiting to see with Mr. Doak's grant application, if that's going to get approved and that we can start getting the funds in.
Oh. So the purchase has been completed. Oh. Yeah. Well, then yeah, I would say you and the whole admin team, whatever plan you have to put it into place and get it up and running. That's your plan.
Thanks, sir.
Hey, I got something real quick I want to throw out. So you're saying roll it out as an incentive for the next, going into the next year. Are you, with that, does that mean like not setting up the computer lab at all, just leaving everything in the boxes? Or are you going to get them set up on a network and do anything over the summer?
Yeah, towards the end of the school year, Brandon has already started measuring and looking at the computer lab, but in terms of towards the end of the school year, summer months, that's when we start setting everything up.
Okay. All right. I was just thinking if we had something set up, potentially that could be an opportunity to actually bring some people in. I know there's several companies with the Fuquay Chamber of Commerce that would be probably more than willing to come in and give a 4-hour training class on, whatever. I know I could bring in some of my remote sensing scientists and do some classes on remote sensing or GIS or something like that. But that could be a way to bring the community in to the schools, that let them see the computer lab and hopefully generate some excitement. But just something to think about.
No, I agree with you 100%. I think the problem is we currently have Ms. Sandra Doss in that classroom.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, I think that'll conclude the governance committee report. So, all right, appreciate it. We'll move into finance piece of this. Mark, if you want to get us rolling.
Before going into the finance report, we do have Bren from Charter Success Partners on the call with us, and I don't know, Bren, if you wanted to share anything in particular.
Sorry, I have to go on my phone.
That's okay.
I don't really have anything to share. Just it's been really great getting to know all you guys and working with you. And I think that we have done a lot of great things since we've started with you guys. So I look forward to more of these. And William and I are working really hard behind the scenes for you.
Right. Well, appreciate you being here and supporting the school. I'm going to attempt to share my screen, see if it works. That's not the right screen. All right. Are you seeing?
Yeah, we can see it now.
Okay. You see the report?
Yes.
All right. And I've corrected all of the typos. So this is slightly amended from what I had sent out to the board earlier, but basically the same main content. But looking at January, we're in good shape for this year. With county revenue coming in, we are at an actual surplus for the year and projecting a pretty decent surplus based on the working budget and expenses to date. So generally speaking, good shape. The cash is also still good. It's improved from last year. Obviously, having a surplus makes that happen. So generally good shape. On the student counts, I think some of this has already been kind of raised already, but we're at 430. EC is at 101. Mr. Dayton has updated the teacher licenses. We're up at 73% now. I did highlight the 3 openings that Dr. Crutcher had referenced, 2 full-time, 1 part-time, and the EC. I think those are the only ones that we're currently Yeah. Okay. So I think those are, that captures it for that. The, let's see, new accounts have been opened with First Bank, funds have transitioned over. If you look at some of the packet for the board members, you'll see interest is already coming in at a decent amount. So that's, I think we're working out nicely so far.
Hey, Mark, I think you might have the actual number. I didn't look at it, but I think Hunter mentioned to me that just the last month interest was more than the last couple years completely combined. So we're looking at the first month already surpassing what we've been getting multiple years collectively.
And we'll say it was a low bar, but
very true.
But it's really good. Yeah, it's really good to actually get something. It's not, it's nothing that's going to be, super significant, but it's just good to have the money that we have on hand, doing some work for us versus what we were getting before. So I think that's a good news story. For revenue side, the state budget is still not passed, so we're still really not sure if and when we'll get an increase in revenue from what we had seen from previous year. So, and then I think Trish had mentioned the next year budget process. There is a template. We have that, and Hunter's already put together an initial look at it. I would say it's a ways to go. It doesn't, look great, but that's kind of where we started last year. So we need to work through it and start talking about what we're going to plan for if we're going to look at scenarios. We kind of did that a little bit last year, but as we get into our planning session, this will be something I think we're going to want to spend some time talking about. And I mentioned the EC department and needed the 3 folks. So that's what I've got. And any questions
on the state revenue budget? I know don't know, but I don't know if Bryn, if maybe you've heard anything as far as maybe some movement on that at all.
Not that I'm aware of. I do know that the original allotment was made based on probably not changing the numbers much. So they did it. If anything, you might get more, but they didn't, so that they wouldn't have to take anything back. That's all they really said to us. So other than that, we don't know, which is sad.
Yeah, this late in the year.
I'm trying to remember what William said in our meeting, but I thought it was May is what they were saying, that they thought they would have it, which is just crazy. But okay.
Let the whole year be done before they approve it.
I do know that if they do not approve it by the end, it's like by the time the next budget, they'll just use the former budget for the prior year will be used. So
yeah, so at least there's a backup plan, but it would be nice to see some potential increase, right? Just based on cost of livings, everything's gone up. So and we'll also mention too, because Trish, you had mentioned the waste management. I think you're questioning as in some of the increases in our expenses, we do see the waste management is actually higher. So we've been seeing increases. So Scott, this is something that maybe we need to look at a change or maybe a renegotiation of contracts after this year, because that contract's up this year. I think we did not have a fixed price, and they've raised quite a bit.
Who do we use?
And it's Cintas. Is that right?
I also was just wondering if that has to do with our increased rentals as well, or is that strictly school? Is that separated out, or are we seeing the price going higher because of the rentals? So just maybe digging a little bit more into it.
Yeah, I don't think that one in particular is from the rentals. That's just the standard rate.
Gotcha.
Has gone up. And then you were asking, I think you had asked about the student information services, which is the software for the lottery software. I think there's a bunch of software services that go into that bucket. So I don't
Is
know
that
that there's any.
yearly? Do we pay that yearly?
No, it's some of them are monthly, and it also includes like Infinite Campus charges for that software. Hunter wouldn't know better about those, the regularity of those, but I looked across 12 months, and there's, at least for the Infinite Campus, it's a monthly charge. Some of the others, there's a few that come and go, but it appears that those
have increased as well. So it's just wondering, if those are things we can renegotiate.
Yeah, I'm not sure that we have much choice there on those.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Mark, you mentioned that was the trash.
Waste management. Yeah, I think it's Cintas.
It's yeah, I think it's GFL.
GFL. Oh, maybe it is GFL.
Yeah, I'm looking at the agreement now. So yeah, I'll
Sorry,
dig a little bit.
I talked to Hunter today, and there was something we were talking about Cintas, and I can't remember what. I think there was something with Cintas,
with the carpets or the rugs.
Yes, thank you. That was the Cintas one where he was saying the charges for the mats are creeping up, and that it's quite a bit exorbitant for just floor mats. So
yeah,
another one to look at.
Yeah, he's mentioned this before, but I think it could be a good conversation whether because those prices are increasing, and they seem, and I haven't got the latest numbers, but sounds like they're jumping up probably a little bit more than anticipated. But you could buy mats yourself and have our custodial staff clean them on a weekly basis or whatever that timeline is. Or Cintas keeps coming in. We'll continue each week and change them out and clean them. Whatever per their agreement. So something for us to consider. I know he's kind of looked into it. It's been a little while since he shared those numbers, so might be good to take another peek at it.
Sounds good. All right, thank you.
But the GFL agreement, gotta look at this. It's either due or might have expired. And I was just looking to hear. It's like
it went to July, but
I think it might be July 25, which is already passed. If that's the case here, I'm looking to see if there's an auto renewal piece in this that it would explain why this one hasn't been done yet. Or hasn't been reviewed.
But it's about up 40% from a year ago, so it's pretty significant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's not like we have more students, right? So just doesn't make a lot of sense.
Agree.
Yep. All right. Yeah, we'll look at that. Sorry, my agenda just went away. Let me pull it back up. All right, I think the last one we have is the marketing piece. Jim and I haven't gotten together. We've talked marketing, but Jim, do you have anything from your perspective? You've been working with Bob a little bit.
I don't think so. I think
additional?
Bob covered quite a bit, so we're good.
Okay. Good deal. All right. Well, that concludes our standard agenda for tonight. Appreciate everybody staying in. And we will have a board work session coming up this coming Monday. I believe it's the 2nd. And as well as our next scheduled monthly meeting, which is Tuesday, February 24th at 6 p.m. So, all right. Well, that'll be it. So,
hey, Scott, if
yeah.
indeed we get snow over the weekend, are we going to go ahead and try to at least do that virtual? If things are kind of, similar, if we get the worst.
Well, I think that's probably probably Dr. Cotton and the team will probably talk, more on that. We've used what, 2 days virtual, Dr. Cotton, so far?
No,
Oh, I think
no,
he's
I'm not talking about school. I'm
planning
talking
meeting.
Oh,
talking
planning
about
meeting.
our board
I was
stuff.
like, oh. Yeah, let's see what happens first. I'd rather
There you
do it
go.
in person, but
I think it'd be easier to delay it and meet when we can meet in person. So,
yeah, let's
my
let's
thought.
see what happens. Yeah.
Cool.
I'm willing to come pick everyone up. That's a option.
Deal. Yeah.
I'll skate.
All right.
I motion to close.
Yes, thank
Eric.
you. Thank you. Eric provides the first motion to close tonight's meeting. Do we have a second?
This is Jim. I'll second.
Jim, appreciate it. All in favor to conclude tonight's meeting, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Tonight's meeting has come to an end at 8:12 p.m. So again, appreciate everybody jumping on. I know it was a few minutes longer than anticipated, but hope everybody stays warm. And
Thank you.
we'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Take care, guys. Bye.